And thank you for coming to the Ashden Awards inaugural lecture. I am Sarah Butler-Sloss, Executive Chair of the Ashden Awards for Sustainable Energy, which I founded in 2001. Our mission at the awards is to celebrate, promote, and support sustainable energy, to help solve the problems of climate change and the problems of poverty, to highlight the huge social, economic, and environmental benefits they bring, and in so doing, encourage their greater use. Over the years of seeing and meeting the innovative and successful winners we have rewarded, we have learnt much about the ingredients that make a successful sustainable energy programme. One key ingredient is integrating credit mechanisms into sustainable energy programmes. This allows sustainable energy to be affordable to the most needy and get around the hurdle of the huge upfront cost of sustainable energy. The second is the importance of a good business model. In order to reach the scale and the numbers that are needed, a key ingredient is a social enterprise that blends the business and entrepreneurial approach with the ability to deliver social, environmental benefits. And they are the key emerging theme coming from our winners. This is why it is such a huge honour to introduce to you this evening the king of both microcredit and social business, as without these two tools for the poor, it would not be possible to bring sustainable energy. Yunus is a man who defied all the rules of banking and set up a bank that lent money to the poor. All the banks told him he would never see his money again, and he lent without collateral, without requiring a credit history, and set up the Grameen Bank. No one else in the banking world had loaned money to the poor, and as he says, without banks loaning to the poor, it in effect writes off half the human race as being unworthy to participate in the financial system. Today, his banks give loans to 7 million people in Bangladesh. And every year, bar one or two, the Grameen Bank has made a profit, including a growth in profits last year, 2008. Yes, the Grameen Bank is thriving when all other banks are crashing. There's a huge lesson to be learnt. By providing credit to the poor, Yunus has made it possible for 64% of his customers to cross the poverty line. That is, to move away from living on $2 a day to live a better and more dignified life. We have much to learn from these sort of models. Not only has the Grameen Bank increased the numbers of its customers, but it has also given birth to the concept of microcredit and inspired many others in the banking world to follow. It is now recognized that it is one of the key tools for solving the problem of poverty. He has revolutionized the banking world, and now he's turning his attention to business and philanthropy. Here he recognizes that the conventional one-dimensional approach to business of a single bottom line, that of profit, is too limited. Human beings are not one-dimensional objects, so why should business be? Due to his vision and the great success of the Grameen Bank, there are now 25 organizations in the Grameen family of companies, from the Grameen Phone, the largest company in Bangladesh, to Grameen Fisheries and Textiles, that bring newfound prosperity to thousands of villages across Bangladesh. I was lucky enough last year to visit one of these companies. Grameen Shakti brings solar electricity to poor rural households that previously relied on kerosene lamps for light at night. Through an integrated approach that provides loans for the solar systems, with the installation and the maintenance and repair of the systems, they have reached over 200,000 homes across Bangladesh. With an average of approximately 8 people in a household, they are reaching just under 2 million people. The loan repayments they charge their customers is the same amount that the customers were paying previously for kerosene. They have trained women to repair, assemble, and install these technologies, and hence allowed women to earn a decent income in the process, often earning an income for the first time in their lives. In 2006, Grameen Shakti won an Ashden Award, and last year, in 2001, they won our Outstanding Achievement Award prize due to their rapid expansion and diversifying into other technologies such as the improved cook stove and biogas. When I visited Grameen Shakti, I saw one of Yunus's successful, sustainable social businesses in action. We are going to show you a brief film now of this social business to give you a real flavour of the transformational impact low-carbon technologies have on the poor. This programme was set up and is run by a dynamic entrepreneur, Dipal Barua, who also works at the Grameen Bank. When discussing the Grameen Shakti model, he doesn't boast of the profit that it makes. He proudly announces how many women and children's lives he has touched, by how much he has improved their lives. Women who are earning money for the first time, or women whose lives have been transformed by reduced cooking hours, reduced heat and smoke in the kitchen, reduced time collecting wood, electric light bringing improved living conditions, educational facilities, and income-generating opportunities. We're now going to show the brief film of Grameen Shakti, and then I will ask Mohammed Yunus to give the Ashden Awards inaugural lecture on social enterprises, creating a sustainable world. Thank you.
Grameen Bank is famous for transforming the economic lives of the poor in Bangladesh. From the 19th floor of its Dhaka headquarters, its sister company, Grameen Shakti, is doing the same for access to electricity for the 100 million Bangladeshis who are not connected to the grid. And in the last 2 years, it's also had huge success introducing other sustainable technologies. Grameen Shakti won an Ashden Award in 2006 for its work, and is the winner of the 2008 Outstanding Achievement Award. At the time of the 2006 award, Grameen Shakti had installed 65,000 systems, but now it's installed over 150,000.
Since 2006, if you see our map, we have at that time around 200 branch services. Right now we have 400. It's double in the network and also the installation rate. In 2006, 2,000 systems per month. Now we're installing more than 6,000 systems per month. So every year we are breaking our record. Is exponential growth.
Key to its success is the Grameen Shakti network. Through its regional offices and local branches, it not only promotes its technologies, but makes them affordable by carefully calculating loans with a realistic payback period. Staff are locally recruited, so they have links with the communities they work in. And word has now spread to every district of Bangladesh of the new possibility of life with electricity.
A solar system means a developed life. Because of it, life is easier.
We can do sewing and our children can study with the solar light. We don't have to go to a distant place to charge the mobile phone. We can do it at home.
It has also opened Grameen Technology Centres, where new solar users are taught how to get the most from their systems, and technicians are trained in maintenance and how to assemble components locally.
Supplies used to come to us from Dhaka, which took a long time, and sometimes people had to wait for their solar power systems to be installed. But now, thanks to Grameen Technology Centres, everything is available all the time.
In Bangladesh, it's rare for a woman to be seen alone outside the home, even less have a job. But Grameen Shakti has trained over 1,000 technicians, and most of them are women.
Lots of people are curious about my work. For them it seems very difficult and unusual for an uneducated rural woman, and they ask me, how did you learn this work? And I tell them I learned it here at this Grameen Technology Centre.
She produced around 30 pieces per day. So earning in a month is around 7,000 taka, is around $100. We are involving women 100%. At the same time, we are training the women to spread this technology in the community level.
Some of the trained technicians have now become solar entrepreneurs. Working from home, they are able to earn a good wage assembling parts and providing local customer service. They are, in effect, mini franchise holders to spread the Grameen Shakti brand.
It's really satisfying. I like it when all the installation is finished. The charge controller shows the electricity is connected and the light comes on. It's a pleasure for me because I was the one who made it happen.
With 150,000 solar units installed to date, rural business is also being transformed.
The Balesh market, we have a lot of shops, no electricity here. So we put solar home system. Now they have another 4 hours, 5 hours, extension of working hours, and they run a television and also lights. This is the income generation. They're renting light to other neighboring shops. At the end of 3 years, they become the owner of the system, and they can continue for 25 years, 30 years.
Before we had light, my daily takings were 1,500 taka. Now I'm making an extra 1,000 every day.
But the spread of solar power systems may soon be overtaken by the improved cooking stove. Most people in Bangladesh and the developing world cook on an open fire or a traditional stove like this. The smoke and heat cause health problems for mothers and children. Everything is coated with soot, and there's often a steep monthly firewood bill. But after talking to other Ashden Award winners at the 2006 ceremony, Deepal Barua decided to introduce a better stove to Bangladesh. These stoves use half the fuel and take smoke and heat safely out of the kitchen. And they cook faster too. The stoves are cheap, only 700 taka or £5, and within 6 months, the cost of the stove is paid back in fuel savings.
There's no smoke, no blackening, and no heat. Before that, it was so troublesome, frustrating, and tiring. Now it's good, no health problems.
The stoves are also popular with small businesses, like this roadside restaurant. As well as saving on firewood, customers prefer to eat in a smoke-free environment. There's a real need for this technology, and thanks to the existing Grameen Shakti solar energy network, the organisation has been able to move fast.
So we can minimize the cost. Same infrastructure for the solar we can use for the improved cooker stove also. So we started just 1 year before. Now we install 15,000. I think this is a big future waiting for us, and I would like to build within 7-8 years another 10 million improved cooker system in Bangladesh.
For those with a few cattle, there is another option on offer, a biogas system that produces clean burning methane from cow dung. With biogas on tap all the time, there's no need for fuel wood at all. And for farmers, the byproduct, organic residue, is a great fertiliser. It replaces expensive chemicals and is reported to improve crop yields. In this fish farm, it's even used instead of fish feed.
Before, in 6 months, a fish would grow to about 250 to 330 grams. And now it's about 500.
The output of the larger biogas plants is enough for the surplus to be sold on by piping it to neighbouring houses. Everybody wins, as the neighbours save on fuel wood and their payments for gas cover the biogas owners' costs. Grameen Shakti's unique community-based business model puts affordable energy within the reach of the world's poor, when many would think it impossible.
We have to try, and it's doable from our experience in Bangladesh, one of the developing country, poor country, but still we are doing fine, and it is a viable, it is a green energy. We are contributing to the planet. I advise try to figure out what are the difficulties and solve one by one, and they can develop the program in other countries.
Thank you. Well, I thought this is a good time to get in. Well, good evening. And you can see from the video and also from the introduction that we are very privileged people. We are very much favored by Ashden Awards because we got the Grameen Shakti got the Ashden Award in 2006 and got the Ashden Outstanding Achievement Award in 2008. And 2009, I'm here. So only we are missing is 2007. And so get ready for 2010. It's because we had a wonderful chemistry between our two organizations, Ashden and us in Grameen. And we look at the world in the same way, so you can't get away from this chemistry working between us. And I'm very delighted, I'm very honored to have this privilege of standing here and talking to you about our problems, our issues, our ideas, which we try to put into action in whatever way we could. Grameen Bank, which started back in 1976 in one village, lending few dollars worth of money to the village people. My first loan was total of $27 given to 42 people. So you can imagine our start. And since 1976, we have created lots of companies, almost averaging one company each year. So we are about 32 years now since 1976. And we have as many companies that we created. At some time, we felt that almost every month we are creating a new company. We keep on creating companies. The one that you saw in the picture is the Grameen Shakti, the energy company that we created in 1996. And we created two companies major two companies in 1996. One is Grameen Shakti, another one is Grameen Phone. Our idea of Grameen Phone at that time was to bring mobile phone in the villages of Bangladesh. Still, mobile phone is a rare thing in Bangladesh. Only the extremely rich could afford a mobile phone at that time. And the total number of telephones in Bangladesh was 500,000 in a country of 150 million people. And those 500,000 telephones remained in the city, particularly in the capital city. Villages never saw a telephone. So to dare to create a company, mobile phone company, with the name Grameen on top of it is a kind of ridiculous idea. Why should you have a company, mobile phone company? But we did. And we said we should bring this mobile phone in the villages of Bangladesh. Everybody thought it's another joke. Why should you take mobile phone in the villages? Even officials who were processing our application to get a license asked us the question, who is going to talk in the village? Why you want to take the phone in the village? So I explained why people talk in the village. Anyway, we got the license in 1996 and we launched the company in 1997. And one British company, a consulting company, was given the responsibility of assessing the size of the market in Bangladesh for mobile phone. After 6 months of hard work, they produced a report saying that Bangladesh has a size of 250,000 mobile phones by 2005. So that was the speculation made by the consulting company here. This was appointed by Telenor of Norway, who was our partner. And they were very disappointed by the size of the market. I said, forget about it. 250,000? Are you kidding me? At least there will be 2.5 million by that time. By that time, we were more than 10 million in actual operation in 2005. So the guess of the people, the experts, and the reality of the situation, what a gap is, you can imagine that. Today, Grameen Phone is the largest company in the country. Largest, not telephone company, largest company in the country. So you can see the size of that business. Grameen Phone is the largest taxpayer in the country. So what started as a small telephone company and was insisting that the reason I'm creating this company, the fact that we got involved with it, because I saw the power of information technology. I thought bringing information technology to the poorest people will change their life completely. So I was saying this is an opportunity to bring the information technology. And the Grameen phone was created with the specific intention to bring mobile phone in the hands of the poor women in the villages of Bangladesh, the Grameen borrowers who are women. They will be the one who will be buying the telephones, and Grameen Bank will give the loans to buy the telephone and start a business of selling the service of the telephone. People say, it's crazy. How do you sell the service of a telephone? I said, why not? It's like a public telephone office. People will come, pay her, and she will make money. Everybody was very skeptic. It became a roaring business for women in the villages. Soon we had about 400,000 telephone ladies all over the country, and made a good money out of that. Today, there are many other companies, telephone companies. There are in all 6 of them. The number of subscribers right now is over 45 million subscribers. So what started with 500,000 telephones to the government service, now in about 10 and 12 years, it has now 45 million subscribers. And Grameen Phone is the largest of the company. It has 53% market share of the total mobile phone company. So I'm explaining because how each one led to different things. So each of these companies that we created had a background, the reason why we did that. And Shakti, Grameen Shakti, Shakti means energy in Bangla, also has a history because we wanted to see that we do get involved with the climate issues. Because when you talk about climate change, when you talk about global warming, each one of us may have its own image what's happening. But for us, it's our life and death. When we talk about climate change, we are talking about us. Are we going to survive or we disappear from this planet? Because we are at the front line of the possibility of getting wiped out in the global warming situation. It's already happening. It's not something speculative. You see the real impact right now. So one of my ideas is, why don't we get involved in it right now before it's too late? So one of the ideas that before we had a privilege or opportunity in a negative sense that Bangladesh doesn't have much of electricity. So we thought, why don't we start before this fossil fuel-based electricity comes? We get involved with the renewable energy and demonstrate that it can be done. At that time, we had no idea what it was. So we said, we'll take the solar panels to the villages. Like we did, we had the idea about the mobile phone, same idea we used for solar panel. We said, we'll tell the people that, look, this is the advantage of having solar panel. And you get the light. And then at the same time, you have the renewable energy at your disposal. And we introduced the biogas because it's all there. Cow is there, cow dung is there. You produce your own methane gas and do the cooking, do the lighting, and save the world from the greenhouse gas, which is emitted by cow dung, open cow dung emitting their own gas. So now you are converting it into methane gas and using it up as a source of your energy for lighting and cooking. And the slurry becomes a very important item, which becomes an organic fertilizer by itself. So you cannot be better in any other business deal than this. And people accepted that. And that's what the expansion comes. And once we have persuaded people, people learned it, and they spread the word, and business itself is spreading all around. The reason that we got involved with the climatic change issues, because when you are dealing with the poor people, you cannot stay away from this issue. Because no matter what we say, ultimately the victims are the poor people. When we say the global warming and the intrusion of the seawater into the inland rivers and the saline water getting in, destroying our ecology, and all the things that you are already familiar with, it is the poor people, the marginalized people. People who are well off, they don't go to the marginal land. They don't go to the wiped out by this tidal wave or by something, the offshore islands. These are the people who risk their life to make a survival. So these are all the poor people. So they are dislodged. They are the ones who are wiped out. So when you do business with the poor people, you get involved with their life. And this is one area of life that we got involved with. And again, we are told they should get ready for adjusting themselves to the climatic change, adaptation, and so on. And while mitigation will be another issue, but the adaptation for them is very important. I always kind of rejected the idea of adaptation. I said, look, this sounds to me very unacceptable for me, because somebody will go ahead and do whatever damage they will do. We'll have to adapt to their damages. I'm not that kind of a person. I don't do the adaptation. I stop the damages rather than do the adaptation. And when you talk about the adaptation, you are taking away the very process of damage. I said I'll concentrate on the damage itself rather than the end product of the adaptation. And that's what I would be concentrating on, and I have been concentrating on that part. Basically, to me, it appears it's all about lifestyle, the way we live. Essentially, that is the crucial matter. And this can be resolved, because this whole climatic change issue came from the way we have decided, we have got used to the way we want to live. Only way we can solve it by changing that. That's a very simple, clear solution. There's no other solution to that one. And I suggest two things as I go along by saying that it's a very simple thing. All we have to do in the classroom, because with our young people, we have to deal with them to think differently. We have to bring this issue up and make them feel that they are ready to accept that by accepting a principle, a simple life principle. The life principle is my enjoyment of life should not take away enjoyment of another person's life. This is my principle. And it's a very logical principle. I don't want to live on this planet in a way, my way of living will take away somebody else's way of living. Their right to enjoy their own life. Then we find out in what way I'm impacting on somebody else's life, so that I don't want to get involved with that. And that can be done in many different ways. But that is something we have to accept to live on this planet. It's not only the question of somebody living somewhere getting affected right now. It is also the next generation, people who are not here yet. I'm taking away their part and using it up so that they will not have that. Or I'm making this life, this planet, more dangerous for them to live. So I'm impacting on everybody else's life. Right now, in the same time period, I'm taking away somebody else's enjoyment because I want to enjoy mine in an irresponsible way. And at the same time, I'm taking away enjoyment and living on this planet peacefully from somebody else. So two principles. One, right now, I don't want to do things which will take away enjoyment from other life. The second principle is each generation in school will be teaching. Each generation will live in a way so that when we hand over this planet to our next generation, it will be a safer planet and more beautiful planet. This is our responsibility. So today we are doing the reverse. Each generation is handing over a planet which is more dangerous than we found it. And we are continuing that. Obviously, this is going to blast away at one point, that you cannot sustain that process at all. So I'll be insisting on these two principles and build everything around these two principles, and all the issues can be brought into within this framework. And this is important for the vast majority of the population of this world, because they are on the victim side. They are not on the enjoyment side. They are on the victim side. Most of them are the poor people. Today, we don't talk about climate change very much because we are in the midst of a terrible, terrible financial crisis. So our concentration is on the financial crisis itself. And I have been trying to attempt to persuade people on the financial crisis by saying, look, financial crisis came and kind of exploded in 2008. But don't forget, 2008, there are other crises also. You forgot that. Because it is such a big project, big crisis, because billions of dollars, trillions of dollars are disappearing, and people are losing billions and billions of dollars. That's why everybody's attention on that one. I said people forgot that 2008 was also the year of food crisis. Food crisis didn't disappear. Still there, but simply overshadowed by the enormity of our crisis that we have been so mesmerized with. Our front page is taken over by back pages taken over, editorial pages taken over by the financial crisis. So other crises had no place. And this was also the year of energy crisis, if you will remember. But that also disappeared. And energy crisis and food crisis were closely linked together because we found out suddenly that we are converting food into energy and didn't care about anything. Probably this is still going on, but we are not paying attention. Luckily, because of the financial crisis, the price of oil went down, but that doesn't mean that it had went down permanently. Simply, probably a tactical retreat, but soon come back in the full glory of their price to control the world and everything else in the shape. The last one, among all the crises which came out in a big way in 2008 is, of course, environmental crisis. The issue that I want to raise that these are not separate crises. This is an expression of the same crisis. This is only manifestation coming in different ways. Unless we go to the root cause of all this crisis, all we'd be doing is kind of window dressing. Look this, okay, financial crisis is over. But would that make us happy that financial crisis is over? Will we be waiting for the next crisis, financial crisis? Everybody's trying to get back to this normalcy. When the normalcy will come back to us? Everybody's kind of praying for that and working hard to do that. I said, for God's sake, don't go to the normalcy. If it is the old normalcy you want, this is the greatest opportunity for us. Because nature could not make it more clear to us that this is wrong what you're doing. And we are not listening. We are busy to go back to the same track where we're coming from. I said, if we are wise, we would be concentrating on redesigning the system so that when we create a new normalcy, that will be a normalcy of different kind, not the old kind, because old normalcy will go back to the same old problem all over again in a more critical way than we have ever seen. So how do we create a new normalcy? And that is the story that all these companies were telling us as we went. Why did I get involved with Grameen Shakti? Why did I create that company in the first place? I'm not an energy guy. I had nothing to do with energy. Why did I create a telephone company? I had nothing to do with telephone. Why did I create a bank? I had nothing to do with a bank. Even I joke about it when people ask me, why did you create this bank? How did you do it? How did you design it? How did you find those intricate principles of your banking? The joke is, I said, look, I have not thought anything about that. I'm not a banker. I never did banking. We never needed policy, a rule in our bank. We just looked at the conventional banks, how they do it. Once we find out how they do it, we just do the opposite. And we got it a bank. It's called Grameen Bank. Everything we do, absolutely the opposite of the other banks do. You go step by step, you can look everything. The funny thing is, it works. And it works better than the other one. When I first tried to convince the banker in my campus, where I was teaching, to give few dollars worth of loan to those poor people in the next village, that's where I got involved. I said, when I gave this $27, I was encouraged by seeing the impact of that $27. So I came to the bank to persuade them to give this loan to those poor people by the bank. Bank said, no, it cannot be done because they are not creditworthy. So that is the greatest verdict I ever heard. The banks can kind of pronounce that poor people are not creditworthy. And I wrote and spoke many times, I said it is a death sentence because that took away the life from people, poor people. They remain poor ever since because bank will not deal with them. Today, after 32 years of that day, when all the big banks are collapsing, and Grameen Bank is still flourishing, not in Bangladesh, everywhere else also. You raise the same question, who is creditworthy? You will get a different answer. So just by doing the reverse, you have not ruined the whole system, you improved the system. So when we go back to the new normalcy, when we go back, we need a new financial structure of institutions. The present institutions are very discriminatory. Even I call them, they have been practicing financial apartheid for years and years. Nobody noticed it because we are in the privileged side. So we don't notice it. Unless you are in the other side, then you notice it. Today, when banks don't give loans, you say every business is collapsing because banks won't give loan. And governments are busy to restart the engine of the bank by pouring in money for those banks so that business life starts. What about the 2/3 of the world population? For them, banks didn't exist, still do not exist. Did any government came out with a bailout for some company, some banks to please go and give the loans? Because we are not among them. That's why we don't notice it. I said we could have created a whole horror movie out of this, showing some aliens came from some other planet. First thing they did in this planet, stopped all banking. And it will be a beautiful horror movie. And we are going through that horror movie right now. I didn't know that it will happen, but it happened. Aliens didn't come, but we did it ourselves. We are brilliant people. We can do that. And you see what impact it does. So what about the poor people? Who cares? So in the new situation, we'll have to have a new banking system where it will be inclusive banking system. Nobody will be rejected from the banking system. Even the beggars on the street will take loans. In Grameen Bank, we lend money to beggars. More than 100,000 beggars take loans from Grameen Bank, and they change their life. We did it, again, out of a debate I was having, insisting that all human beings are entrepreneurs. Because people were saying, oh, microcredit will work only for the entrepreneurial poor. See, you all have to be smart in using words, entrepreneurial poor. I said, look, all human beings are entrepreneurs. So why are you looking for entrepreneurial poor? There is no such thing. Every human being is packed with this capacity. Some people are lucky, they discovered that talent. Some people are just plain unlucky. Nobody helped them to discover their talent. They came with a wonderful gift inside of them. They never had a chance to unwrap that gift. Never even had the chance to know that they are carrying a gift. Every human being carries the wonderful gift of unlimited potential. Doesn't matter whether the child is born on a street or child is born in a palace. Each one is equipped with that wonderful gift. But they don't know that they have the gift. Those who are slightly privileged, they can find out that there is a gift, but they never had the opportunity to unwrap it. So they remain what they are. So that is the failure of the society, that we have not been able to help our citizens, our members of the society, to discover their own ability and own potential. Once they know, they will contribute to the rest of the world. And that is the story of the whole world, that they don't know. They die without knowing who they are, what wonderful gift they were carrying. So in this crisis period, we are talking that billions of dollars lost. The guy who lost $1 billion, he still have $1 billion. The guy who lost $1 million, he still has $1 million left. And when somehow the economy will go back to the normalcy, they will get their billions, their millions, they will be back again. Who are the victims of this crisis? Again, it is the poor. It is the bottom 50% of the world population. If you just draw a straight line across, they are the victims of this. They are the ones who are losing jobs, losing income, losing livelihoods. And all across the globe, not just in one country or another. And why? Because in one country, they did some stupid things. They become super greedy and turn the marketplace into gambling casino. And that is transmitted across the globe, made other people suffer. And it's not those greedy people who would be suffering. They will get back with full glory of their existence if we go back to the same normalcy. So we cannot go back to the same normal situation. This is the opportunity to redesign. This is the message again and again. We are not paying any attention to the redesign aspect yet. If we redesign all these 4 crises that I mentioned, food crisis, oil, energy crisis, environmental crisis, financial crisis, will in one go can be resolved. But we have to discover, we have to redesign the system so that we can address that. Coming back to Grameen Bank again, we give loans, tiny loans, without collateral, to poor women. We have 7.7 million borrowers in Grameen Bank, Bangladesh today. They own the bank. Repayment has been always very high, and it is their bank, and the money comes from the locality, same locality where we lend money to the poor women. Each branch, we have 2,600 branches of Grameen Bank. Each branch is required to mobilize the deposits in wherever they work and lend that money to the poor women in that area. So it's a local money going to the local poor women and transforming those families totally. So we are not dependent on any money coming from the government, any money coming from the banks, or any international source. So we are immune from the financial crisis. It doesn't touch us because financial crisis is coming to the link with the international financial system. We are not linked, so we are happy. We are okay. And everywhere, wherever microcredit programs exist, as long as they are not connected with the international financial system, they are doing okay. They have no problem. Our businesses of the borrowers is still okay. Maybe if it goes on for a long time, this crisis, they will be hit ultimately because they cannot sell their products because others cannot buy their products. But so far, they are doing okay. So in Grameen Bank, we are helping those children go to school and give them a scholarship and then give them student loans. These are all illiterate families, totally illiterate. Literacy never entered those families ever in their history. But we made a pledge that we will help them send their children to school, and we did. Nearly 100% of the children are in school. And then we see waves of these students went up the classes. We thought they will stop at the primary education. At least we'll have the privilege of feeling good that we have made one generation at least complete their primary education. But reality was more striking than that. They continued beyond the primary education. And then they passed the high schools, they went to the colleges, and then they got into the problem of financing their college education. So immediately introduced the education loans. Right now, there are 35,000 students in medical schools, engineering schools, universities, entirely financed by Grameen Bank. So we have a new generation of young people among these poorest families, illiterate families. New generation is literate, new generation is highly professional, and many of them completed their PhDs. So it's a very strange situation. When you go to the village now, you see the woman, very enthusiastic. She has been with Grameen Bank for 10 years, 15 years. She's showing you all the things she has done. She started with $30 loan. She was scared to death to take that $30 loan, and she made it. And then she became brave. She asked for $50 loan and $100 loan and moved on. She created a life for herself and sent her daughter to school. And Grameen Bank has helped her to go to higher education. And now you see the mother and the daughter standing side by side. Both are beaming with happiness, explaining all the things. And her daughter is a medical doctor. She's practicing somewhere around. So mother is still the same illiterate woman. You look at both of them, the mother and the daughter, and immediately it hits you with a thought. Her mother could have been a doctor too. There's nothing wrong with her mother. Simply society never gave her a chance. Never, forget about the medical school. She never went to a school in the first place. She remained an illiterate woman. But just one institution provided one tiny little facility, changed everything for her daughter. So it's not the difference between the mother and the daughter which make all the difference. It is something society did to do persons made all the difference. So when I'm asked about the poverty, I said, look, poverty is not created by the poor people. Poverty is created by the system that we built. So it is artificially imposed thing. Poverty is not natural to human being. So because it is artificial, you can peel it off. You can take the real human being who is energetic, enterprising, and contributing to the world. And each one is hiding inside of this poor person. We couldn't open this up. This is our failure, not his or her failure. How did the system fail? Because system is created with the institutions, system is created with the policies, system is created with the concepts. That's where we went wrong. And I immediately give the example of banking system. Look how cruel the banking system is. They just shut the door. They will not lend money to the poor people. And when we say that, you imagine as if this is happening in Bangladesh. We're not talking about Bangladesh. This is a global phenomenon. Imagine if you want to find out how many people in London City do not qualify to take a bank loan, you'll be amazed. But we never do that. We think everything is okay. Oh, we have beautiful banks. They're doing wonderful service. Recently, a program, some people got very excited about the Grameen idea and came forward and invited us to create a program in Glasgow, calling it Grameen Glasgow. We said, okay, we'll do that. The reason they were telling us there are many families, thousands of families in Glasgow City who are at the third generation unemployed people. For 3 generations, never seen an employment in their life. They are on welfare. What a shame for any nation, anywhere. Why should anybody be in welfare in the first place? So this is our responsibility, how people can express themselves, their ability, talent, and creativity. So this is the failure of the institutions. In the United States, not only they cannot take a loan from a bank, they cannot open a bank account. I want to put my money into your bank. I'm not allowed. There are millions of people in the United States who are deprived from this privilege of opening a bank account. But they work, they get their salary check. In a normal situation, you will be expecting an American will be putting his or her salary check into his bank account, and you get your $1,000 check as $1,000. Not in America. They created strange companies called check cashing companies. So you go to the check cashing companies and they rip you off. For $1,000, you don't get $1,000. They take 3% off, 5% off. You can't even get your own salary because bank will not let you open a bank account. That's the banking that we are so proud of. We are so happy to protect them, bail out money and everything. That's the bank. So this is the institution part, one institution. I concentrate on concept. I said, we have to change the concepts. That's where we are absolutely wrong. And I particularly focus on the concept of business. The only concept of business in the entire economic theory is a business to make money. Profit maximization is the mission of business. And I said, I'm very uncomfortable with this definition of business. I said, human beings are not robots. All they do is make money. If it is a social science, interpreting human beings into your social science, you have misinterpreted human beings. Human beings are much bigger than just money-making machines, but that is not interpreted into the economic theory. So economic theory has distorted the very concept of, the very idea of a person as a human being. Today, all businesses are busy making money because that's the only concept that theory has provided us. We are trying our best to fit into the theory, playing a role as aggressively as we can, money makers. I said the theory should be imitating reality, what real human beings are, not the other way around. Human beings should not be imitating the theory to trying to fit ourselves into the slot they have designed for us. I said any human being has multidimensional aspects in every human's lives. If you take even a simpler view of it, let's take 2 dimensions rather than 1 dimension. The 1 dimension is the selfishness in human being. Of course, we are all selfish people. We want to protect ourselves. We want to make secure and so on. So that selfish part. And on the basis of that selfish part, we build the theory of business that exists today, profit maximization, because we want to bring everything to ourselves. But equally strong element in every human being is the selflessness. Completely ignored. Even they tell you if you want to be selfless, you want to do something, step outside of economics, become philanthropist, go somewhere else. Don't stay within the business world. I said, why not? I'm a full human being. Why can't you be inside the business? So I'm suggesting, why don't we create another business on the basis of the selflessness? And I'm calling it a social business. This is a business which is aiming to help others. Nothing for me, everything for others. So it's a kind of reverse version of the first business. And that's why I was giving examples of Grameen Bank and microcredit and other things that I did. All the 32 companies that I created, I don't own a single share in any one of these companies. People ask me, why did you create those companies? I said, because it works for people. So what? What is in it, for you in it? I said, that's what, for me, in it. I enjoy seeing things done for people. Is it something wrong? Yes, in economic sense, it's wrong. Then I'm wrong. Condemn me, hang me. It's okay. Now I'm saying I'm not wrong. Theory is wrong. They are not allowing this to happen. Everybody would like to do this, what I'm doing. But within the theory, they're not allowed. Institutions are not built for that purpose, to help you to express. In our textbooks, we don't have room for that. So we don't know that such business could exist. So the social business is a non-loss, non-dividend company with a social objective. Would people do such a crazy thing? People ask me. I say, you know what? People are crazier than that. They give away their money. Not only thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars, they give away billions of dollars. One person gives away billions of dollars. If they are not crazy, why should I be crazy? I'm not talking about giving away. I'm talking about investing it for a social cause. And that money comes back to me. But I cannot claim more than what I have given. Not a single cent. That's a social business for me. So again, I thought I should demonstrate it so that people can understand it clearly. I did a lot of those companies. Then one company made it very visible because we did it with the big company, Danone. We created Grameen Danone company in Bangladesh. Like Danone, we produce yogurt in Bangladesh, but very special kind of yogurt because this is a social business. Bangladesh, like many countries, have millions of malnourished children, totally malnourished. What we have done, we picked up all the micronutrients which are missing in those children into this yogurt, and then sell this yogurt to the children, make it very cheap. And children love the yogurt, they eat. And if a child eats 2 cups of yogurt each week, 2 cups each week, over 8 to 9 months, they get back all the micronutrients which are missing, and they become healthy children. And this is the social business. None of us want to take any profit out of it. We can take back our investment money. It's working very well. And we did a Grameen Veolia, another water company, to bring water in the villages of Bangladesh, which Bangladesh has arsenic-contaminated water. So this is a social business again. We are just signing an agreement with BASF in Germany to bring nutritional supplements, create as a social business, and produce treated mosquito nets so that everybody can protect themselves from mosquito-borne diseases. And we are working with the social business with Volkswagen in Germany. I gave them a challenge. I said, can you make a vehicle in Bangladesh, a very simple vehicle? Even the ordinary Bangladeshi people can afford it. That vehicle should have an engine which will be green engine, absolutely green, no pollution whatsoever. And that will be multi-purpose engine. And ultimately, we can create social stock markets where we can buy the stocks for these companies for changing the world, not for making money for ourselves like we do the present stock market. And we'll be needing newspapers like Financial Times, which gives you information about businesses. We'll be needing social Financial Times. We'll be talking about what kind of social businesses is coming up, where I would like to pay, which particular creative social CEO is moving from one business to another business, and I would like to put my money into it. In the process, we can change the system. A system where nobody would need to be a poor person anymore because we changed the system. Because it was coming from the system, now the system doesn't produce it, so nobody will be poor. Then we'll put poverty in the museum, and that will be the end of poverty in the world. Thank you very much.
You'll be pleased to hear that it's not quite the end of Mohammed Yunus, because he has very kindly agreed to answer question and answers session now. I'm also very pleased to be able to introduce to you Kurt Hoffman, who I'm sure many of you know was the pioneering director of the Shell Foundation, which did a huge amount of work on sustainable energy and social enterprise. He currently runs Transform Africa and is involved with the Lion's Head Global Partners. And he's here today to chair the question and answer session. So please get your questions ready, and we've got some more time with Mohammed Yunus. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much. We have to keep ourselves on a really tight schedule now, because we want to give you a chance to answer questions, but we also want to give you a chance to engage with Professor Yunus after the questions, and he's kindly offered to get his writing arm in shape and sign some copies of his book. So we want to do all these things. So I'm going to ask you to be as efficient and focused as you can on your questions. Can I first say, though, take the privilege of saying that a couple of things. First of all, you'll be delighted to know that Professor Yunus is going to appear on Newsnight tonight. And I think we can all hope, having spent here in England the last few months listening to endless talking heads on Newsnight trying to explain to Jeremy Paxman what's gone wrong and how to solve the problems, suddenly we have someone who seems to actually know what he's talking about and have some insights that are really fresh and new. So let's just hope that Jeremy lets him talk. And the next thing I want to say thank you to Sarah and to her colleagues from the Ashden group, not only for having Professor Yunus talk to us, but also for their efforts over the last few years in shedding light on those many examples of human ingenuity and innovation and creativity in the sustainable energy field that we need to harness in great numbers if we're to make the sort of progress towards the sort of society that Professor Yunus talks so elegantly about. Okay, so thanks very much to Sarah and Ashden for that. Okay, so I'll try to be as disciplined a chairman as I can. We have about 15 minutes for questions and answers, so let's see. First hand going up right back there. And could you introduce yourself and stand up when you ask the question?
Alex Newton. I am the managing director of Musitopia Enterprises, who have a lot of ideas that follow your ideas. If I take a UK focus, one question I have is, as you know, there are many laws around recruitment, school attendance, loaning money, things like this. Would any of these laws get in the way of the development of such a company or any of your companies in this country?
Yeah, there's a lot of things can be subject matter of social businesses here in this country. To begin with, to take people out of welfare. You can create a social business, the mission of that social business would be to get people out of welfare, out of unemployment, or whatever you feel uncomfortable with about the unresolved problems that you see around. You can do that. And microcredit, the kind of lending program that will be available to anybody, which are for whom the doors of the conventional banks are closed. So that could be a social business.
Sorry, my question was, would the laws that exist in the country stop that from happening?
I said the crisis is an opportunity, so we should be taking that opportunity in creating the alternative system. So this is the time for that, rather than kind of lamenting over the fact that there is a crisis. In a way, we should be happy about the crisis, because in a normal situation, quote-unquote normal situation, you don't want to touch anything. Everybody's so happy, those who matter. So now people are unhappy. So this is the time to undo the whole thing and build it anew. So this is what we should be doing. Yeah.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Iftikhar Latif. I'm COO of Kashmir International Relief Fund. We're setting up a recycling business. The purpose of it is that it's going to be profit maximizing. But 100% of the profits are going to go to our charity so that we can do the work in Kashmir. The issue that we face is getting the seed capital. Again, we have the same issue. Are we creditworthy? And so how do we turn that upside down? If we want to set up social businesses, we still have the same issue of trying to get consultants to come and work for us. We have to pay for it. If we want to generate seed capital, we're not creditworthy. We're going to be charged interest. Sure. How do we deal with that problem? How do we turn that around?
When I was talking about social business, once you accept it within the theoretical framework, it will become something that you have to have all the parallel institutions that you build for profit-maximizing companies. So for social business, you'll be needing another kind of banks which will provide the lending to the social businesses and funding organization, like you have the investment funds for profit-maximizing businesses. You'll have a social business fund. And actual one initiative has already been taken by Monaco. They're creating a social business fund to support social business. Whoever has a great idea, want to start a social business. For example, I'm just giving as an example, your recycling plant. If it is a social business, today it is not. If it is a social business where nobody will take any profit out of it, you can get your money back in the investment money, but it will be providing the recycling benefit to the people. Or the social business fund will fund it. But on the profit maximizing part, I'm sure there will be companies, I don't know whether they exist or not, but social business, yes. There will be separate company, separate social businesses will be as a social business fund to support lending money or even investing money in social business. Yeah.
Okay. Right down here.
Thank you. Simon Roberts from the Centre for Sustainable Energy. I'm reminded, and I can't remember who said it, but by your speech of the phrase, never let a good crisis go to waste, which I think would sum up your position this evening. What I'm interested in, bearing in mind the 32 different companies you've had to set up in order to create something towards a new normalcy in Bangladesh, how much effort and how much of the system we need to change in the UK before we can start to call it a new normalcy. I'm not sure we've quite got the narrative yet of what it'll look like and how many different enterprises will need to emerge working to new rules, working to new approaches, such as the ones that you've talked about.
Yeah. You don't have to keep on creating new companies if you don't want to. But if you can create one, just one, it doesn't have to be a big one. I mentioned big one because it can start very small and can become the largest company in the country to show the strength of a business, how business can take you from zero to any size. But the important is like Grameen Veolia or Grameen Danone. It's a tiny little company, but it's a big message that it can be done. And then you demonstrate a business module. And then what you have done, you created a seed. Once the seed works, then all you have to do is to replicate that, because it's a self-sustaining system. Once you start this company, it continues. The difference between a social business and charity, we could have produced this yogurt as a charity activity, but through a foundation for children to give them free yogurt so that they can gain their health. Then every time you produce it, you have to find a donor to do that. The donor dollar has only one life. It can work only once. And next time you want to do that, you have to take another donor dollar. But if you can convert it to a social business dollar has endless life. It recycles. It becomes very powerful. So the important thing is bring your creativity to design that company. Once you have designed it, it's everybody's idea now. They can replicate it, they expand it. It can be global phenomenon. So that's where the challenge is, to change the system. You just produce that one seed, and you have planted the seed. Now the world will change. You don't wait for the world to change yourself. It will happen because you develop that seed. And we all have that creativity in us to do that. And particularly I'm referring to the businesses because they have the technology part of it in their control. Now if they use their mind to develop the seed, then fantastic thing can happen. All I ask them, you are all you are kind of set with a profit maximizing glasses. You see the world through the profit maximizing glasses. It looks in your way. Take off these profit maximizing glasses. Put on the social business glasses. World will look completely different. And then activate yourself to solve those problems. And you have the capacity to do that. And you develop that seed. And that seed is the wonderful thing to change the world.
David King, and I first want to say what an inspirational talk. And I think many of us also would like to see the current banking crisis as an opportunity for cultural change. But I really want to ask a very serious question. You have created the opportunity for many seeds to grow, particularly in Bangladesh. And those seeds that grow through the opportunity you've given them, you describe each of those individuals as entrepreneurs. And they will therefore improve their own well-being as a result of those initial loans. But where does that stop? So instead of looking at it from your viewpoint of enabling each one of them to develop their best potential, now turn it around and doesn't this run the risk that each one of them is therefore going to develop their own potential until they move from need to greed? How do we stop that process developing?
Yeah. Because in that world that you describe, there's only one road, need to greed. The world that I'm suggesting, there are multiple roads. So in the classroom, the young children will learn that there are two options when I grow up. I can work for a profit-maximizing company if I want to take a job, or I can work for a social business. What kind of job I will take? This is a decision. Today, you don't have to take a decision because there's only one. You go to business, you work for profit-maximizing business. So you go straight to the greed. You didn't go to the other part. So I'm suggesting there should be other part too, so that I can choose. Or other children, they said, when I grow up, my parents left enormous wealth. Should I go into money-making business or should I go into social business? This is a choice. I have the resources already. Or someone who doesn't have anything, but still have the ability, should I create a social business or a profit-making business? I can borrow money, invest, I can find a partner. All I have to do is to come up with a brilliant idea of social business. And then I will have venture capitalists or social venture capitalists who will support me and I'll have that. So this is the path. And to see in Grameen Bank context, I tried to explain what happens to the second generation. First generation is totally literate. Second generation is a professional, educated people. And then when they started talking to me in the initial years, when they're getting into the colleges and universities and medical colleges, said, well, finding a job in Bangladesh is so difficult. You have helped us to get to the degrees and we're getting good degrees. Would you help us to find a job? And from then on, I'm campaigning with them. I said, you are Grameen Bank children, not like other children. So your thinking should be different than other children. Other children look for jobs. You have a separate pledge for yourself. Every morning you get up, you repeat this pledge to yourself. And the pledge is, I shall never seek a job from anybody. My mission is to create jobs. And that's what I'll do. And the difference between you and other children's mother don't own a bank. Your mother owns a bank. Money is not your problem. Your mother's bank is waiting with stacks of money for you to come up with ideas how you change the world so that we can give you the money to change the world. So to start thinking. Now I said, oh, I don't have to look for a job because I create jobs. This is my mission. And then I said, in case you feel frustrated that you cannot find a way to create jobs, look at your mother. What did she do with her money from the bank? She created a job for herself. What good is your education if you are not better than your mother? As simple as that. So this is again a thinking process. You think differently. Why should I be a job seeker? I'm the job giver, and that's my role. And that job would be something that helps people, not just ordinary business. Yeah.
Okay, we have time for one more question in the back on the left there.
Thank you very much. Good evening. My name is Diego Guidi, and I work in the advisor and consulting department of CAF, Charity Aid Foundation, who is a bank, a non-profit bank as well. I didn't know it existed before joining them, and actually before working on your case study at the INSEAD Social Entrepreneurship Program last year, Mr. Yunus. So thank you for inspiring us in a lot of the work on social entrepreneurship that we've been doing lately. My question is around organic growth and growing models in business models. I would like to understand a little bit more your choices in business growing around hybrid value chain, which is one of the concepts that you've been developing with Danone and lately BASF, as you were mentioning. How do you make the decision to create a new business that will be fully owned by Grameen? Or how do you make the decision to create a joint venture which will be fully owned by both? Or when does it make sense for you to go and look for expertise outside or to create the expertise inside? What is your vision? Do you want to be an initiator of business, or do you want to be to have an advocacy role, or to have an influence by influencing Shell, by influencing Danone, by influencing Volkswagen? Thank you.
Well, all of the above. I do everything. In my book, I started with explaining how we got in touch with Danone. It's an accidental meeting with the chairman of Danone, Frank Ribot, and then the story goes how step by step we did that. And it got invested, and I said, we'll create a social business. He said, what is a social business? So I explained what is a social business. He stood up, extended his hand, and said, I'll go for it. So we shook hands, and that's the beginning of the whole thing. And then along the way, at that point, no matter how much I explained, they didn't understand what is social business. But step by step, when I was doing that, we are so stuffed with them, they understood what social business means. Just to give a little example, some of it I mentioned in the book, they were showing, I was asking, how do you dispense, how do you deliver this yogurt to the children? They showed the container. This is the container we'll be using, and this is the 80 grams of yogurt that we'll put, our machines will put, etc. I said, is it plastic? He said, yes, plastic. I said, in social business, plastic is not allowed. So I'm the designer, so I can say anything I want. But they said, throughout the whole world, we operate, we use the same cup. I said, but that's a profit-maximizing business you do. Here you'll be doing social business. So you have to be very careful what you do. So they realized that I was very tough on that, and I'm very serious about it. So they spent next 3 to 4 months looking for that material, which is biodegradable, because I said you have to use biodegradable material. Finally, they came back with a lot of happiness that they found it, and designed the cups with biodegradable materials and showed it to me. They are very happy. Look, we found it in China. This is cornstarch, and it's biodegradable. They've certified everything. Look at this. We tested. It's biodegradable. I said, I'm very happy about that, but can I eat it? He said, why do you want to eat it? I said, well, poor people will be paying for this. Why should they pay for something which they will throw away? But that's how biodegradable is. I said, no, it should be edible. I said, if poor people put a penny behind this, that cup should carry nutrition for these children itself. I said, how can you do that? I said, well, when I buy ice cream, I get ice cream cone. I eat the ice cream and I eat the ice cream cone. Why can't you do the same thing here? I said, it's not the same thing. I said, that's why I'm asking you. Otherwise, I would have done it myself. And their entire facility in Paris, all the scientists are busy now trying to find it's edible cup. And their scientists are very happy. When I go to Paris, they meet me. They said, nobody ever asked this question to us. If nobody asked, how can you find it? You asked us, and it's a challenge for us. We'll find it. So they asked for 1 year. I said, no, you get only 6 months. You better find it. So they are working on it. So this is the way. In some cases, people ask me, what kind of social business can we do? We are the biggest shoe company in the world, but we want to do social business. I told them, this is Adidas in Germany, at their headquarters in Germany. I said, well, one thing that comes to my mind, why don't you adopt a motto for your company? Which, what will be the motto? I said, the motto of your company will be, nobody in the world should go without shoes. We guarantee we'll create shoes for every pair of feet. That's it. Oh, can we do that? Can you do that? That's my question. I said, to begin with, why don't you start a social business which will produce Adidas shoes for under $1, so that everybody, every child in the world can use Adidas shoes, and it should be green shoes, to make it very clear right from the beginning, so that you don't have any wrong idea. So now they take it seriously. They came to Bangladesh to see where, because again we insist, the first plant must be in Bangladesh so that we can see everything. So you can't do it in Germany or someplace else. So they agreed to do that. And they will be launching the shoe next year at the World Cup final. So they have all the time and everything is done. And they are very excited about it, that yes, we can do that. So this is how it all develops. It's a kind of conversation, ideas, and they like it. And the Volkswagen people came to Bangladesh again to study the terrain of Bangladesh, to produce that engine and the vehicle. And they take it very seriously because they have the capacity, but never used for that purpose. Now they will be using that for that purpose. So that is the challenge. If you give them the challenge, they feel happy. It's not that they're upset. They're very happy they're doing something which nobody asked them, nobody ever looked for it. So now somebody's looking for it and they want to get the right answer. So this is how it happens.
Okay. I'm sure we'd all love to spend hours listening and engaging with Professor Yunus, but we have to move on to the next chance. You have another chance to engage. Ask Dr. Yunus perhaps to sign a book if you can. Don't ask him to make any long dedications, please, because we want to minimize the time. I think if we could get Professor Yunus also to think about presenting some challenges to our unemployed investment bankers.
I'll be doing that.
You'll do us all a great favor. So can I, on behalf of the audience, thank you extraordinarily much for a wonderful evening.
Thank you.